Welcome to the last of the Col-Hi Wildcats 1982 podcast, brought to you by Dietzel Man Productions.
High. One of the students, I have no idea who he was, but he was in wood shop, and he took that picture and put it on some masonite, and then and cut them up into puzzle pieces. His picture of College High, and I got every piece but one. It was one. I put it together and had one missing piece. Well, that's pretty good, out of all of those.
Tell you what. Later on, looking back, it was their parents. I grew up without a dad in the home, but their parents had a huge impact on me.
Cheated to win, and this young man asked why he cheated, to win. And in the course of that conversation, he said he wanted to get the gold. He had to get the gold medal, but he came to the realization that if you're not enough without the gold medal, you're never going to be enough with the gold medal. And I think I love that.
He plays for the Patriots. His name is Jalen Mills, and he's a yoga student of mine. So during off season, he comes to the studio, and that's all he does for off season. I mean, not all he does. He does other stuff, but he does that as his workout. I watched him play this whole. It was so exciting to watch him play this year. I was like, he's not going to get hurt because he's been doing all this yoga, and he's.
Welcome back. So this week, I'm continuing our discussion on health and fitness for the class of 1982. And this week, I'm joined once again by Atina Mccrary-Pegram, yoga instructor from Pure Yoga in Dallas, Texas. She's back to talk about the benefits of yoga and how we can get in better shape by the 40th reunion and beyond. Remember to consult your doctor before starting any exercise or diet program. There's the disclaimer. And now, my good friend, Atina Mccrary-Pegram.
And it's just like, there's just nothing like it. I mean, I don't know. I guess all of your friends from your class live everywhere. They don't all live in Bartlesville, obviously.
No, all over the world. Hungary, Norway, Germany.
Oh, wow.
San Diego.
I would venture to say that almost every major city has a hot yoga studio. There's thousands and thousands and thousands of them. They won't be called Bikram anymore because they got away from the name. So you have to look for a hot yoga, 26 postures. But I would encourage everyone to at least try. And if you're not doing what I'm teaching, just go try a class because you will be amazed at how good you feel. You won't feel good immediately, but you'll feel good in about an hour and a half. You'll go, oh, that was great.
Now, the other thing that I just want to get out of the way is when I'm showing up, I don't want to make any weird noises, and I'm just going to leave it at that. So I guess that happens, and it
does happen, and it doesn't happen as much as you think.
Okay.
It's really, it's so literally, in 20 years, 21 years, 7 times, unless they're just like completely silent, which could happen too. And I've only had, in my 21 years, I've only had 4 people pass out. That's
really?
Pretty good. That's pretty good. And
pass out. Wow.
It was their fault though. And when I say that with a kind heart, but they didn't disclose some medical information they probably should have disclosed.
Right.
So.
Okay.
that's why that happened. Not because it's like, oh my gosh, it's too hot. It's just because there was something else going on. So really, I got a pretty good record. No one has died.
Well, that's
So,
good.
Yeah,
That's a
no
plus.
losses.
Yeah.
No losses. But
So, can you leave to go to the bathroom?
you can. Yeah, we don't lock you in. Stand by the door. You're not leaving. No, totally. You can leave to go to the bathroom. We encourage, like my spiel that I give at the beginning of class is make sure you have all the water you need, all the Kleenexes you need, all the stuff right at your mat, because the more movement and distractions, the harder it is to focus, obviously. And the minute you leave the door and you feel the air conditioning in the lobby, probably not coming back in.
Ooh.
Probably not coming back in. So they say, you know, if you feel dizzy, you feel sick, you feel tired, just lie down on your back and just stay there and just get used to the heat. Try not to leave. Your only goal in this class is to stay in the room. Your only goal, stay in the room. Sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there's other kinds of
And
yoga.
the clothing, you don't wear very much clothing.
Okay, so that'd be a problem too. I mean, I heard one guy say, I put on my thong, and then as soon as I put it on, I couldn't find it,
And what I mean by limited clothing is, I mean, I wear like shorts. I mean, like those like volleyball type shorts, kind of like they're yoga shorts and like a tank top. But you want something to be kind of tight fitting, especially for the women, because you bend over and the shirt will fly up, or and you don't want your shorts to be jogging shorts where you bend over and you can see everything.
Right.
So you just wear something that's a little bit more tight fitted. I don't mean like naked.
Right.
And you'll want to have less clothing on if you're taking the yoga that I teach, because you sweat so much.
Yeah.
And a heavy t-shirt is the worst thing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And no one's looking at you. No one really cares. I mean, you might think they care. They are really, my experience is everyone is so happy that you showed up, and they're so encouraging to new people. That is what I love about the space where I teach, is that everybody is so encouraging. Like I'll hear them in the locker room going, you did so great. You just come back tomorrow. We'll be here tomorrow. We're here. We got your back, and you, whatever. And it's really great.
Yeah.
It's a good community, and it's not weird. It's not like an and like doing all these weird things. You just go and exercise. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah. So, okay. I'm with you. Let me look through my questions here.
do you want me to come teach a class at your reunion?
Okay, everybody. Yeah.
Be a blast. You can have a big showing.
Yeah. What if people don't like the partner they're stretching? Is there partner stretches? And what if you don't like the partner stretch? And
there's no partner stretching.
Okay.
There are specific classes that are geared towards that. They usually happen around Valentine's Day. Come with your partner and let's do some yoga.
Okay.
But we don't have any. I mean, that's more rare than it is common.
So how is it that yoga can help with depression?
Ooh, because your serotonin levels go through the roof.
Really?
Through the roof. I mean, all that dopamine. I mean, I don't know how it works. Really, I don't know how it works, but it is proven that it helps with depression. I mean, I would guess out of my class, I have about 30 people every morning, anywhere between, 20 and 40, as I guess is what my average is. And I would say 10 to 15 people have come to me and told me specifically, I'm not taking my depression medicine anymore. I'm off my anxiety medicine already. I mean,
wow.
I literally, after I did that one class with my friends' parents, I didn't actually go full on till like a month later. And do you remember when, of course you remember the OSU plane crash, the basketball players?
Yeah.
So a really good friend of mine, Bill Tegans, was on that flight. I worked with them.
Oh, yeah.
And I had an anxiety attack, thinking I was having a heart attack. And I was at work, and I drove myself to the hospital, which that makes sense. But,
Mhm.
but I did. And I was like, my anxiety level was out the roof. And it was because I was so upset and whatever I had else going on in my life.
Mhm.
And that's when I went back to yoga.
Mm.
And I went back to there because they wanted to put me on Xanax. They wanted to do all that. And I was like, I'm not taking that. People get addicted to that. I was like, I'm not going to be in all these things. Right. And I
Mhm.
went back to yoga and I'm telling you, gone. I don't know what it does, but it's like, it's miracle juice. I'm telling you.
Huh.
And I
You
have
know-
drank the Kool-Aid, literally.
Yeah.
It's like,
Sounds like
I
it.
really believe it. I really
Yeah.
believe it. And I have lots of testimonies from others that prove it, that it really does work.
I
It's not
believe
just
it.
to get skinny and get, it's for everything. It's like it's health in 90 minutes or an hour.
Yeah. And so as you get older, as we're getting older, one of the things that I need to be thinking about, everybody else needs to be thinking about at this age probably, is flexibility. We're 58. It's not old. I mean, we're not old, but 60s around the corner, 70s, you know how fast life goes now. So
So fast.
it would pay to be at least flexible, so that if you fall down, if you twist your ankle and fall down, you're not breaking things, because of immobility or being too stiff and whatever. Being able to catch yourself, or just be limber, and be flexible, and be able to, get around your house and do stuff, get around the yard, do stuff. But I would imagine, that if you're too stiff and too inflexible, it seems to be maybe especially for women. I don't know if I'm speaking out of turn here or not, but the, bone density and,
Yeah.
all that stuff, breaking
It
bones.
increases in yoga. Bone density increases in yoga.
Really?
It does. And the flexibility, the thing about being older and falling and all that kind of stuff, which happens, it just happens because you lose your balance.
Mhm.
And it can prevent maybe more, you may break something still, right?
Yeah.
You may still have a hard time getting up, but it may not be as serious,
Right.
right?
Yeah, right.
It could be like I tore my Achilles walking on the beach.
Oh man.
Yes, I teach yoga. There was a hole and I didn't see that had washed over the water, and I hit it and it popped my Achilles. Worst thing I've ever done in my entire life.
Wow.
But I'm telling you, I rehabbed. The doctors were freaked out. I didn't sever it completely. I was on by a hair, right? So I didn't have to have surgery, but I was back in the room doing yoga in a month.
Wow.
Not well, but I could do it.
Yeah.
And that happened 3 years ago. And I mean, I know that if I hadn't been doing yoga, that it probably would have severed completely.
Yeah.
I just think there's so many things. And I always tell my young kids that I'm teaching that are anywhere from kindergarten through 8th grade. I'm like, I said, because they always think they think I'm so old. They're like, you're older than my grandmother. I'm like, I love you too. But I'm like, can your grandmother do this? And I'll do something. And they're like, no.
Yeah.
Right. I'm like, can your grandmother touch her toes? I'm like, you need to be doing this now. So you can play on the floor with your grandchildren.
Right.
And not be like grandpa on the chair who doesn't do anything.
Yeah. Or can someone help me get off the floor here?
Right. I've fallen and I can't get up. Right.
Improve sleeping habits.
Yes. Totally improve sleeping habits because you're exhausted. And it does improve your sleeping habits. But I will also say, like, my trick with sleeping is to go to bed at the same time every night, to have a routine.
Mm-hmm.
And I would venture to guess the majority of the people that I work for, or students, have the exact same thing. Now, I go to bed at 10 every night. I've done that for probably 30 years, unless we happen to be on vacation.
Right.
But I go to bed. I don't even say goodnight to my family. I just slip away and I get in the bed. And I mean, everyone knows that I don't say I love you. I don't say I don't like you. I'm just gone.
Yeah.
I'm like a ghost. And I really think that helps. And I think the yoga obviously does help with your sleeping. I mean, because so many insomniacs. I mean, I have so many friends who just don't sleep at all. which is so sad. To sleep, you have to sleep
Yeah.
to be healthy.
Yeah. What if you get cramps in a yoga class? I mean, do you get cramps? Do people cramp
People
up? Or?
do. People who exercise a lot. So meaning they don't just do yoga, they're runners, they're doing other things. They will cramp up, but electrolytes save your life. So
Okay.
I'll run, so the magic number for the yoga that I teach is you drink 75% of your weight in ounces. So you weigh 100 pounds, you're drinking 75 ounces of water a day. It's a lot, but you're sweating a lot. And then you have to have electrolytes. You've got to have your magnesium. You've got to have your salt. You have to have all of the electrolytes to make, because you sweat too much out. So you have to replenish. And
So
that's when you cramp.
75% of your weight in water? Is that what you said? Now, what if it's just a guy like me sitting in the chair in my studio here? I'm not doing anything crazy. Is it still 75% of your weight in water?
No, I would say you drink about 60 ounces a day, 62 ounces a day. How much do you drink?
Hardly. I mean, I have one Eskimo Joe cup that I fill up with water. Actually, this is the second cup, but I haven't drank anything yet out of it.
A Joe's cup is what, 20 ounces?
Something like that. Yeah. So
Just
like
drink 3 of them.
3 of them. Okay.
Yeah. 3 of them. Drink coffee?
Oh, all morning. Right
Like
there.
how many cups you drink?
A whole pot, easy.
Really? So you could cut that down to a pot, because that's dehydrating you. So you're gonna have to increase your water. Right?
Right. Okay. All right. Well, that's enough for Tina.
Wrap her up.
Wrap her up. Get the hook out. So if someone's interested, we've sold them on the idea that yoga might be a good thing to look into.
Yes.
I'm in Bartlesville, Oklahoma, or I'm in Wichita, Kansas. What do you do? You can't go to the yellow pages anymore. I guess go to Google and
Go to Google.
And what am I looking for? I'm looking for,
if you're Googling it, you're just going to look up yoga near me, whatever, and see what it is. But I guarantee you at your YMCA, there's probably a yoga class.
Oh, okay.
So there's probably one there. If you're in a smaller town, I mean, if there's like a LA Fitness, I'm sure they have a lot of different things like that. If you have more of a chain type of place like that. There is also, and I'm plugging my studio, but we have YouTube videos. And
yeah, go ahead.
We have Pure Yoga TV, or just look up Pure Yoga on YouTube, and we have got everything on there.
Are you on there?
Hundreds of videos. Yeah, I'm on one of them. I'm sure I am.
Well, I remember seeing a video of you on Facebook. Someone posted a video of you doing a class not too long ago, actually.
Probably
a news station or something.
I think it was just us.
Okay.
I think it was just us, because we're always posting. But during the pandemic, we had to like pivot, the big word. We went straight. We closed our studio on March 15th, and we went live on the air on March 17th. And I taught from my dining room table every morning until we opened up.
Oh, that's
and I
cool.
would have a full class. Yeah, I would have sometimes I would have 60 in a class. And then it became like I could see friends, like I saw friends that had lived in Dallas and I taught for years ago that were now in Washington. They got tuned in. And I was like, it was really so much fun. So that is the number one resource. That's what I would do. Not necessarily ours, but just Google yoga on YouTube, where it's free, right? And there's beginning yoga. They've got easy yoga. They've got yoga for restoration. They've got all different kinds. I mean, and if you don't like the teacher, just find another teacher. Right. Because there's so many out there.
Okay.
And at some point, they're going to ask you to subscribe, and then you find another teacher. So, whatever. Or not to subscribe, but to pay is what I'm trying to say. Yeah. But, you don't have to. There's so many options out there. Yeah.
What's the deal with the mat? Do you have to have a mat?
A mat is good for the studio.
Hmm.
Just because you don't want to be on the floor, right?
Okay.
So I think a mat is good, and it's also good for balance. Now, there's so many different kinds of mats. So I would suggest a mat that's pretty dense. There's a lot of really cushiony mats, and if it's cushiony, you can't balance. People think, oh, it's going to feel so good.
Yeah.
But that's not the point.
Yeah.
Go to your bed. You
Yeah.
want to feel good, but you want something that's pretty solid.
Okay.
A lot of mats are pretty expensive, but they have a lifetime guarantee. Most of them do.
Yeah.
Like you want to get at Target. I mean, there's great ones at Target or Walmart, whatever, that are still pretty solid, but they're not terrible. That's a good beginner mat to see if you like it. Don't throw down $100 on a mat in the beginning.
Yeah.
Go get a $15 mat and see how you like it. But a mat is important. It helps you with your stability.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if anybody out there has any questions or watching, listening, they're interested in getting in, can they get in touch with you, or would you talk to somebody if they wanted to talk about
Absolutely. You can leave my email. Would that be good?
Yeah. Yes, so yeah.
Whatever's
the best way.
Me. Yeah, I think an email is great. And then if they want more information, I can give them a shout and we can chat.
Yeah.
Happy to do that. Love to do that. No problem.
Thank you for listening to the last of the Col-Hi Wildcats 1982 podcast, and we'll be right back after this.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna embarrass myself in front of. If you've enjoyed this podcast in 2021, you have my patrons to thank for that. A bunch of Wildcats got together and created a GoFundMe account to help in the production of this podcast. So with that in mind, I've started a Patreon page so that listeners can help support the last of the Col-Hi Wildcats 1982 podcast on a month-to-month basis. So please check out my Patreon page, patreon.com/Wildcats 1982. And now back to the show. At the get-go, and then pull something, stretch something, just, can't do it, whatever.
And then you get frustrated. You want to go back.
Yeah,
you don't want to. Totally. So I would tell your audience, power yoga is probably not where to start.
Yeah.
Right. That just sounds crazy already. Power yoga, right? Because it's a lot of up, down, a lot of really fast movement. I'm thinking you look for hatha yoga, whatever that is. Hatha yoga, restorative yoga, something. It'll say easy yoga, but if it's it says power, probably not a good place to start.
Right. Okay.
Right. So talking about like people who like Chris, my husband, he played football at OSU.
Right.
So he thought it was a big joke what I was doing. He's like, whatever, I've worked out all my life. Like I can do all this stuff. Right.
Yeah. Right.
And he took my class for the first time. And he said it was the hardest workout he had ever done.
Really?
Because it's something that you've never done this type of, it's not normal exercise. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So of course the heat is a factor, but he was like, this is amazing. So when we opened the studio, we weren't married yet. So he had to do what I wanted to do. So he took class every single day as we built our studio, every single day. Wow. He was in the best shape, not football shape, but usable shape.
Yeah.
Usable strength.
Yeah.
So people who would lift and get really big, that's not usable strength because they can't put their arms down.
Yeah.
Their muscles don't move.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So this is usable strength. So there's a guy who plays for the Patriots. His name is Jalen Mills, and he's a yoga student of mine. So during off season, he comes to the studio, and that's all he does for off season. I mean, not all he does. He does other stuff, but he does that. It's his workout.
For sure, he does that.
Play this whole. It was so exciting to watch him play this year. I was like, he's not going to get hurt because he's been doing all this yoga, and he's like. And it's the whole thing about yoga also is that it strengthens your spine and your knees. So everything we do in my class is around the knee and the spine. So knees and spines, if they're hurt, guess what? You're out of commission. Right? You need your knee, you need your spine.
Oh yeah. I had a bad back I don't want to say injury. I was picking up something and something popped in the lower, whatever. Worst pain I'd ever been in.
Ugh,
And so I went to one doctor and they said, well, we want to do an epidural and we want to go in and inject some things in between the discs. I was like, man, that really sounds crazy, you know? And I was going to have to sign a paper saying that if I'm paralyzed, no, that I can't hold them responsible, blah, blah, blah. I said, so I'm going to get a second opinion. So I went to another doctor in Tulsa. He was a holistic kind of guy. And he said, well, I can fix this for sure. That's the good news. He said, it's not going to be quick and it's not going to be, you know, steroid quick, but it'll fix it. And it won't, it's going to be it could be forever before it comes back, but you're going to have to do these exercises. I said, you know, he said, if this works, great. If it doesn't work, then go do your epidural thing.
Absolutely.
So I said, that sounds better. That's less invasive. Well, it wasn't invasive at all. So I did it. It would hurt like heck doing these back exercises, but I did it. It fixed it. And I have had no problem. And that was 8. That was 8, and then probably another 8 for 16 years ago.
That is awesome.
Yeah. So the exercise, getting limber, because I'm telling you, it hurt. It hurt.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Back pain is the worst pain. It is.
Yeah.
It's debilitating. I mean, it really is debilitating. And I am so cool. I think that's so cool you found that doctor. It's amazing how many doctors now will recommend yoga before they'll recommend surgery or exercise or whatever the exercise is. I mean, it's usually very yogic what they're telling you to do, or it's things that we would do in class. And we do a whole spine strengthening series that's, you know, all about working your entire spine and how, I mean, people are like, I grew. I'm like, no, you're just standing up straight. You know, you're not like this anymore.
Not hunched over.
Yeah. I mean, the spine is, I mean, it's a fragile thing, and it works for you great as long as you take care of it.
Yeah.
But you don't know. I mean, just like you said, you bent over. That's the same thing I did. I bent over and popped my back. And I mean, I couldn't get back up. I mean, I was like, this is ridiculous. Yeah.
I guess it's almost, we're up against the clock. Oh my gosh, I got to let you go. You got to go.
What time is it?
It's 11:53. I'm 3 minutes over.
That's okay. That's okay.
So anyway, thanks, Atina.
Of course.
It's been a long time, but it's been a lot of fun catching up and hearing all about yoga and its benefits. And I'm seriously very curious now. I'm going to have to go out and take a look because I've done exercises before. It worked. I just need to get back into it. So thanks.
Well, maybe what we could do in the future, we could do like a 30-minute workout for your podcast.
Really?
Yeah, an easy yoga.
Sure.
15 minutes. 15 minutes.
Okay. All right.
We could do it. You know, we should. I mean, we totally could do some really easy, some spine stuff, some knee stuff in 15 minutes.
Okay.
Call me.
Okay. So, what if we did like a live?
Sure.
Like everybody show up, you know. Okay. I need to let you go.
If it's going to be live, let's do it for 30.
Yeah. Okay. I know you need to go, but let's talk more about that. I think that's really a great idea. So, all right, Atina, thanks for joining us today. From Atina Mccrary-Pegram, this is Scott Townsend with the Last of the Col-Hi Wildcats 1982 podcast. Have a great day, and we'll talk to you later.
The Last of the Col-Hi Wildcats 1982 podcast is a Ditso Man production. Visit the Last of the Col-Hi Wildcats 1982 YouTube channel, listen on Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to your favorite shows.
This podcast is made possible by our Patreon members, Butch Boland, Ben Townsend, Mark Thompson, Glenn Goodrich, Sandra Yeager, and Christy Brooks. And by the generous donations made via the GoFundMe campaign.